music matches Slater's glasses.
I love it. Ooh. All right, here goes the microwave. So loud in the speakers. Good morning, everybody.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, so the whole cast is here. Welcome to the K Huddle. Again, this is the opportunity where the entire K cast gets together and we all get to kind of check in on each other, and you get to see how your favorite radio station deals with each other as far as a family. Slater, it's good to see you, man. You weren't part of the last one because you had the doctor's appointment, but it's good to see you. Can you see us?
Yes. I was jealous. I knew Chloe was going to wear those glasses, and I said, I gotta one.
Had to outdo me. She's Pester from the Ladybugs movie with Rodney.
Yeah.
Do I look like that?
Or like a Harry Potter kid?
A little like.
I just wore them because I don't have makeup on today, and these make me feel better.
They cover up more.
Yeah.
No, Slater cover his whole face.
Oh no.
Yeah, when I got LASIK, they gave me these, and they said that I should continue to wear them periodically. So today's the day.
You're back, Ashley.
Yeah, that does remind me of like when you see the elderly sometimes. I call them anybody remember the blue blockers?
Yeah, that's what right?
Yeah.
These are the blue light.
No, but like back in the day, they called them blue blockers. They were actual sunglasses. Yeah, no, what are those? Those are sonar.
These are the solar shields. I love free stuff, and they gave me these, so I'm like, okay. Well,
wait, are you talking about these things? These old person sunglasses?
Blue blockers, yeah. The blue blockers. You wore them while you drove. They helped you drive better.
But they were like you only saw old people wearing them. Right?
Yes. Now, please, guys.
It's because they go over their glasses.
Well, and let's stop using the word old because we've got some listeners out there who are of age.
If they're 70, 80, 90, let's go with 85. Okay, I'm proud of you for being on here if you are.
Hallelujah.
Let's just say that.
All right. Okay. So here we are with the K Huddle, where you will find us on YouTube. You'll find us streaming live on Facebook, and you will also find that this is a podcast where you've got the entire on-air staff here together. And we do have a couple things that we want to tackle. At the same time, you will hear us commenting on the commenters. There's a whole chat feature here. Teresa's in there. Meg is in there.
Hi, Mom.
Darla, Peggy, Shannon,
Hi,
Lisa.
Shirley.
Good morning.
And you'll notice that we'll shout out a lot of people.
What
Slater.
is that noise?
That is Slater. He's moving around his microphone.
Is that annoying? I'm sorry.
So sensitive. But what you'll notice is that we'll shout out a lot of names that are familiar to us because y'all are family to us. We get to see you every Thursday. And today's topic. Okay, so Ashley and I, we were undercover.
Morning. We were not in studio at all.
Ooh.
Anybody have any questions why?
Anybody have any guesses why? Because we know nobody will get this.
You were both late?
No, but while we get guesses in, that's funny. I don't know the last time either one of us slept in past the alarm. Neither one of us have been late this whole year. Chloe hasn't either. Chloe's like a really goody two shoes.
This year, though, it's literally only been 2 months.
I know. But like literally within the last year, nobody has slept in. Nobody's overslept an alarm. Like, I'm pretty proud of us.
Well, and I can't give you guys too much crap because it's only 2 months because I've been late and it's only been 2 months.
That's funny. Timothy, good to see you. Rita, good to see you. Nancy, good to see you. So today we were undercover. We went out with our boss. By the way, his idea to take us out into the field. Okay. So for a lot of individuals out, here, this is probably the best way to equate it. So you've got Tom Brady, right? And he's got a bunch of tape to watch, right? You know, while he's out on the field, he's got tape to watch of other teams, how they play and whatnot. It's research out on the field. So today we were out in the field in traffic, in school lines, with both of us doing mornings for a long time. You know, Ashley, how many years you?
8, 9, actually 10 fully with like not being a host, like just being a producer on the side. But that morning drive and those morning hours. Yeah. 10 years that we've not been in a job that you drive through traffic because you're at work before traffic ever begins.
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, 17 years, and I haven't had to sit in a school line ever. So that was very interesting today. Us sitting out there taking notes, you know, just basically putting ourselves in your shoes as to what you encounter every morning.
And Chloe was in here holding it down. We went all the way past Disney to Kissimmee, basically to Champions Gate,
Yeah.
Omni, all the way back to Sanford. We saw that new road where all the roundabouts are being put in, and our boss ran right over one of them. That was fun.
That was interesting. And we learned that the K92-3 Carl Black vehicle can handle a lot.
Yes.
Uh,
Everyone on here, like, what is your morning like? That's what we were talking about, because we're just really not ever having to drive in the mornings. It's good to get that perspective to see what it's like when you drive in. And Melissa and Slater, they come in at totally different times. That's not necessarily 8 a.m. and Slater's in the afternoon. So he's like in the middle of the day.
yeah.
I have a question, because, you know, when I'm usually driving to work, you know, 8:39, so I hear that portion of your show. Did you guys talk about a pregnancy test at all?
Pregnancy test.
Because Peggy
No.
just said, did you guys stop for a pregnancy test? So I was just curious if that was something you guys had mentioned on your morning show.
I don't know,
No.
Peggy, where did that come from?
And
Well, I think
Peggy,
she was guessing when you said, why were we gone?
right. And that would be
okay.
weird for the both of us to do.
Totally. Obi, that's not going to tell you anything. If you pee on that stick, that's going to be useless, bro.
No. But yeah, it sounds like, hey, you guys, don't be quiet. We're talking to you, Peggy, Marcia, Teresa, Scott, Darla, literally, Brenda. What do you guys' mornings look like? I know everyone wants me to be pregnant, Jessica. It's like the elephant in the room. Let's all. Okay, how about we address it real quick then? When it happens, it happens. If it happens, it'll happen. I don't put pressure on myself. My friends are like, you need to track your days of when you're ovulating. And I'm like, no, like, I'm good. What do you think they did in the 1800s? They didn't follow an app on when to get pregnant. So if it happens, and truthfully, if it doesn't happen for me, I don't know that I'm the type that I also want to go through the steps of IVF. I don't know if that's something, if it's not in my cards, I don't think I want to mess with God's plan.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's that. But
Wow, we went deep, y'all.
Yeah.
If I can add something,
I'll address it for you, Jessica. I have no problem talking about it, but
they didn't have apps back in the day, but they did carve it on the walls of the
right on their
They're
tab.
like, not bleeding today.
Nope.
Yeah.
Tomorrow might be a better day.
Well, honestly, this is going to be really on topic of what Slater just said. Has anyone watched Bridgerton?
Oh yeah, I
How
watched the whole thing.
they would literally say, like, wait, it's been a whole month, and like the person who washes the sheets knows something. That's how they figured out they were pregnant.
that
Because the
was
person who
weird.
washes the sheets.
But that was weird that they like, and I never looked into the history of that time, that
Yeah.
era. Did they really hide from women the fact, like,
How pregnancy happened?
yeah,
Well, okay, so just from what I've seen from multiple documentaries of anything from the past, y'all, I'm going to try to say this as politically correct as possible, but y'all, as far as females, as far as the female race, have only now come forward as far as being super educated,
yep,
having a say. You know, you go back
Their own people.
any further, and you choose any culture you want. And women have always been kind of so anyway. So yeah, so I do believe that they were
they
probably
kept them that
suppressed.
sheltered that they didn't even know
No, they just
That-
wanted the control. Like back in the
Right.
day.
to not be able to have a child if they didn't
But-
want one.
But yes, you know, some of that doesn't make sense though, because I would assume that a mom would pass that down to her daughter,
Right?
right? Like along with like
They didn't even talk
recipes,
about it?
cooking. Here's how we make
Here's
dumplings.
my cornbread, and also here's how to make children.
So, okay, wait, real quick. Going back over to what Peggy said, her drive's pretty good if she leaves before 7:20. If not, it's horrible and she's stuck in the school traffic. Teresa drives from DeBerry to DeLand, and I hate it. Looking forward to
Whoa,
going
yeah.
back early morning and late night so I don't have to deal with traffic. Teresa had a doctor appointment on Monday in Orlando off John Young, and everyone drives crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I know that even Claremont, there was a time where Claremont was not as populated. So if you look at Orlando from the center and you go out west, you've got Orlando, Ocoee, Winter Garden, Claremont. That whole west side of town, there's traffic now. Like there's legit traffic. It's especially in Claremont, where we're sitting in it and we're like, for real?
Ashley's comment.
No,
Good stuff.
I'm laughing at Teresa because she said, poor Meg, I know you're waiting. Probably my mom waiting for me to have a kid. I said, my mom has 4 grandchildren. She's fine.
I like Gregory. So Gregory Darren just said it's like NASCAR out there. Everyone's racing to get in front of each other.
For real. It's bad.
Can we go around the room just really fast while we're on Gregory's topic? Does anybody else out there like to drive fast? Like, is that like your default? Okay, I'm gonna raise my hand because my default, regardless what kind of car I drive, I don't know why. It's quick.
Oh.
I try not to be a dick about it.
So I get here. I've seen Obie haul AS around the corner, and I'm like, and it's his music. Whatever he's listening to, I can hear it in my car.
Now that's different.
The thing with Obie's music though is it's like praise the Lord. That's what it is. It's getting him so pumped up in the morning.
And he gets out of the car head bobbing.
It's so loud.
No, what happens is that as soon as I turn the corner into our safe parking
He goes
lot,
90.
yeah, because there's a cool little whip that you could do around the parking lot. So by the time
he does
Chloe
it.
sees me, I'm already hitting that whip at like 60 miles an hour
Where's this
in a
cool
parking
whip
lot.
at? Where's this cool whip?
The whip.
So
The whip.
as you come in that side of the building, if you whip around this side, then you can.
Oh,
And my truck
God.
always goes. Man, I feel like
these are things
Dukes
the rest
of
of us
Hazzard.
have not witnessed firsthand.
Well, there's nobody else here at that time, so the parking lot's completely empty. So I can
True.
zigzag and.
You know
There
what?
was,
On Monday, I'm gonna record it. I'll go out there and watch you whip.
You can't
I
tell
mean, he
him.
does. He goes like 90.
Don't tell him.
Okay, Melissa, what were you about to say? Because
was
then
gonna
I
say,
want to get back on
There's
Ashley.
a meme that's like, do you ever, when you're going fast and somebody's in front of you going slower and you're just like, oh my gosh, get out of the way, let me go. And then somebody comes up behind you, right up on your butt. And they're like, whoa, where are you trying to get to so fast?
Yeah.
Calm down. So
It's
like when
always
the roles are
opposite.
switched, you're always like, you don't have somewhere to be that quickly. Calm down. But then when you're up on somebody, you're like, move.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ashley too. I've rode with Ashley before, with Ashley driving to the airport, and I just remember sitting and just gripping. And I so, you know how it's different when you're the one behind the wheel. Like I just told you that I like to drive quick, but when it's somebody else driving behind the wheel, you're like,
Oh, my mom hits the invisible brake.
Yeah.
My mom hits the brake on the passenger side.
I will say though, I've never caused an accident. I literally just got rear-ended last week, and it was not my fault. Again,
knocking on
Yeah,
wood.
knock
but
on wood.
like, yeah, knock on wood for real. I do feel like, yeah, you drive fast or like aggressive, and I feel like defensive aggressive drivers use that as their excuse for their fast and their speed.
Obie, Jessica said, you have a whip, but where's your nene?
Rita said the only saving grace for her morning drive was K92.3. Aw, thanks, Rita. That's sweet.
That is nice.
What was your favorite part when you would hear things of what we talked about? Bend it like Beckham, Montana said. Hey, Montana.
Oh, Montana.
Montana was selling, was it strawberries?
Oranges.
Oranges, citrus. Are you still doing that? That was awesome.
Yeah, he had himself a primo spot.
Yeah. But yeah, that was what our undercover morning was. To circle back to that.
Yeah.
So what did you find?
All sorts of like what you stop on of the traffic. So when there actually was traffic and we came up on it on I-4, we were like praising it because we're like, yes, we need to experience this. Because
So what did you listen to? Did you listen to yourself?
No,
Yeah. Well, so a little combination, we kind of listen around and whatnot. I think what was probably the most interesting was, you find yourself in certain areas where like at 6 o'clock in the morning for us in here, we're just like, oh, okay, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. People are just kind of waking up. The roads were loaded.
yeah.
There were people well on the streets by 6 a.m. So that at least lets us know in here at 6 a.m. you're going to hear a lot more spunky of a show. We thought y'all were still asleep.
Yeah,
did
but
you
6:30 they
did
were
you
full.
notice when you guys were hitting traffic that there were times you would literally be at a dead standstill, and then you'd get up to what caused the traffic and there's nothing there? You know how
Worst.
annoying that is?
Yeah, it's
There's
just
nothing causing it.
all the construction too. We notice we are always giving shout outs to everyone in construction because
Yeah.
we know that those are our listeners too. And now we're seeing it firsthand in the mornings. We stopped at a McDonald's. We stopped at a Starbucks. It was funny. We actually asked our boss if we could take his kids to school so we could experience that, but he said no. But yeah, there's a lot going on in the mornings. If you think about it, there's so many people that responded on the K92.3 Facebook page about what their mornings look like. And a lot of people are awake at like 4:30 doing stuff. Some are up later. I don't know about you guys in here, but in the chat and watching. But it's all over the place.
I mean, I know we've got a good listening audience that they're up at 5 already at the gym. And those people, I'm like, man, high five.
Mhm.
High five to y'all.
Jealous,
Especially if you're getting up to work out. Whoo, high five.
Who's going? Why would you be at the gym?
People
Otherwise.
who wake up at 4:30
Oh,
to
yeah.
go to the gym.
Oh,
If they're waking up that early and
Hi,
going to the
Gina.
gym.
Teresa
yeah.
said kids go to school by 6:30. So our boss's son doesn't go until 8:30. So it's all over, Teresa. I think too to catch a school bus, it might be different, right? Like they might have to get there earlier to catch a bus
yeah,
as opposed to school start time.
yeah. Because the bus itself has to still make other stops.
Yep.
All right, good. Okay, so here, let's pivot because right now we're gonna change the conversation up. All of us are probably gonna have something to say here. Slater, I think last time we were doing this broadcast together, we said that you may have the most to speak into this as Chloe is moving. She ended up getting a really sweet gig at one of our sister stations in Georgia, and we were talking about what it is to move. And in radio, you kind of bounce, from this city to that city.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about the actual move, though, because Chloe's trying to come up with, what do I leave behind? What do I take with me? What's important?
Yeah, no, that's the truth. I am a total hoarder, and I'll be the first to admit it. Okay, it's not that bad, though. I wouldn't classify it as the hoarding shows you watch on TV where you can't even walk in the houses. Not at all. My house is very organized. But I just have a hard time holding on to things that have some sort of attachment. So birthday cards, I have tons of those, hundreds probably. I have some at home in a box. I have 35, 40 of them sitting right now. Just thank you notes, sweet notes for my family.
Okay, before we get into it, I
just
think
keep
Slater,
everything. I literally just keep everything.
Slater's moved the most, so let's let him input on this before we break this down.
So how are you getting there, Chloe? You got a U-Haul?
Yeah, so I rented a U-Haul. So I move out the 10th at 4:30 in the morning, but I'm gonna load up the U-Haul on the 9th.
Okay, you already got a place?
Right up the road. What'd you say?
You already got a place?
I do. I have a place. Yep. So I
Okay.
actually ended up getting it's perfect. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and exactly what I'm paying for my apartment here in Orlando is the same price in Georgia.
Nice.
Yeah, I would say take everything there and figure it out there of where you can store stuff and not. And those cards and everything else, take pictures of them, put them in a separate folder. So if you want to go back and look at them, or you're very crafty, make a new piece of art with it, Definitely do that. But I would move everything there and then figure it out as it goes. Because if it means something to you today, then it means something for you today.
Yeah,
Wait for it not to mean anything. When it doesn't mean anything to you, then it's very easy for you to toss it. Every single time it gets a little easier. And but until that moment happens, I've never thrown something away that I was like, no, I don't care about this, and then regretted it later. If you can fit stuff under your bed, my bed right now is chock-a-block full underneath because I have a bed where I can hide stuff. So I probably have what would fill an entire closet underneath my bed.
So do I.
Something tells me though that Chloe, I don't think you have as much as you think you have. I don't know what you consider
you
to
have
be a
a
lot.
one-bedroom apartment now? One
I have
bedroom?
a 1-bedroom.
And now you're moving into a 2-bedroom?
Yeah.
So you've got even more space.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
you can literally take everything and still have space.
Okay,
Yeah.
can I bring up this documentary I watched on Netflix? It's called The Minimalists. And they brought up something so great because my husband is anti-clutter. If there's something sitting around and he's seen it there for a week, he's like, have you even looked at this? Throw it away. And The Minimalist, this documentary had a really good point. So this guy's mom passed away. She actually lived in Florida. He went down to her condo to go clean it up, pack it up, and found all these things that she had kept of his from grade school, his papers, all the yearbooks, which by the way, those are still all under my bed at my parents' house.
Your mom literally said that. She stores some of your stuff.
Oh yeah, my mom is a hoarder.
Mama Meg, I am with you.
And not that I don't love seeing those things, but the point of the documentary was the guy said his mom never ever pulled that stuff out. She knew she had them in her mind, which is what gave her comfort, but she never pulled them out to go look at them. It's just her knowing those things were there, but it was the memories in her mind of those things that she was clinging to, not the physical part. So I don't know.
Well, Ashley, when when your mom decides to make you have all that stuff, because my mom did the same thing. She kept all of it. And one day she decided, you know what? This is all your stuff. You can have it. And I was like,
I know. My
what am I
mom,
supposed to do with all of
Mom,
this?
you've been way too nice. I've got to give it to you because she hasn't forced it on me.
Like my mom even gave me my baby teeth that she kept. I was like, why
No
did you
way.
keep these? She's like,
Oh
you
my
were my
God.
first kid. I kept your teeth when they fell out.
This
And I
is
was
so
like,
great because your
I'm
mom,
literally throwing these away.
your mom might be in this chat too, Melissa. And my mom, I'm sure, will post here. So Meg, she has my baby hair clippings, baby teeth. I've seen it all every time I go home.
Umbilical cord, probably.
Was that a
For
thing
real.
then?
Gross.
Yeah. She's waiting for me to go through it all. Hey, I did go through a whole bin last time I was home and I literally trashed it all. There were memories in there were cheerleading bows from competitions. Some of this stuff you know, Chloe. And I
Let's,
think you're approaching that.
Yeah.
in
Well,
life.
yesterday was my last shift at Old Red, and I have like my little Old Red Orlando badge. And I was like, oh, I'm not gonna need this. And I was like, oh no.
You save it. Save it for the
It is a
memories.
badge. Throw it away.
All right, let's do a little reset here. You're listening to Obie. We've got Ashley in here. We've got Melissa, Slater. You've got Chloe. The entire on-air K92.3 staff here, the only radio station in the United States that affords ourselves an opportunity to get together like this. So really, what you guys get to be a part of is our mental health. This is like a mental health check-in as well. As we're talking to the chat that's talking to us on YouTube and on Facebook, and we were just talking about Chloe, our morning show producer, now turned on-air co-host for a station out in Athens, Georgia. And so we were talking about the move. Slater, you have any advice for her with this U-Haul, right? Like, so, some guys are like, oh, the heavy stuff in the back, and then lighter stuff in the front, or heavy stuff up top, or stack everything up. Like, you have any advice there?
Yes, all your blankets, use them as moving blankets. Any linens, and use to protect your stuff. Don't stack it high if you don't need to. If you have a bigger truck, put it all on the ground so that way stuff's not higher than other things.
That's really smart.
Especially since you're driving far.
If it's a small truck and you stack it high, honestly, no matter where you put it, it's gonna fall on the other stuff. It's like a magnet. Anything that is breakable, if you have to stack stuff high, it will magically find its way to those breakable things.
Yeah. No, that's
And,
really good advice.
How long is that drive?
It's like an 8.5 hour, 9-hour drive.
Her dad's driving it.
My dad's
Teresa.
driving it. It's a 15-foot U-Haul truck. Like it's massive.
Nice.
And I ended up, just because if you have kids in college, I talked about this on air, even in general, your kids as they get older. I know my parents have moved me probably 15, 20 times. And I just don't want to put that
How
on
many
them
times have they moved you?
Oh, no, they've moved me. Like I've moved probably twice every year in college. Like
no. My
maybe
kid,
not
my
15
kid.
times, but I've moved twice every year in college. Twice a year.
Here, this is a good question. We talked about this on the show, and this can go around the room here for Melissa, Slater, Chloe. When I moved in with my husband, Matt, that was the first home, like an actual house I had lived in since I had been 18, because I had lived in only apartments through college, through single life, and all of that.
Yep. Yeah, and I'm getting ready to move into my first house, so I'm like, ooh, more room for more crap. No.
What about you guys, though? Living like as you've progressed through life.
I mean, I literally moved from my parents' house into an apartment with my husband. He wasn't my husband at the time, but moved in with my boyfriend, and then moved back home for like 6 months in between our lease being up and our house we have now. So I've literally only lived in 3 places my entire life.
Your parents
My
are
parents,
like, yes,
that one
thank God.
apartment, and the house we're in now.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm in the double digits.
Oh, and moving, Slater?
Yeah. Moving. I owned 3 houses, built one of them, but moving around from Iowa to Chicago, from Boston to Fargo, North Dakota, to Burlington, Vermont, to several different apartments in there. Our profession can be really nomadic if you choose that route to move around, or it doesn't have to be. Chloe moving twice a year. Very impressive. Like
Impressive for mom and dad for them to move. And that's exactly why I hired a U-Haul and then people to come help me move, because I'm like, I just can't. My parents are getting older. I can't make them move the couch, the bed, all that heavy furniture. So I have these guys coming that are literally just going to load the U-Haul for me.
College hunks moving junk, right?
Yep, that's them. Shout out to college hunks.
Okay, Ashley, when you made the move over here, do you remember that?
To Orlando?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you made the pop a couple times from Central Florida, well, from the coast up to Jacksonville.
Yeah, my parents help me every time, of course. I'm very lucky in that sense. But I will tell you, are you talking about the story I was telling you earlier, Obie?
Yeah.
Okay. So when I moved to Orlando, it was with an ex, and we were moving out of one of the apartments that we were living in. I think it was in Baldwin Park. And my parents had gotten a truck and helped with movers. And this particular ex-boyfriend was hungover the entire day and laid on the couch and hardly helped anybody move.
They moved the couch with him on it.
Yep. So that was when he moved out of my life too.
What a bum.
What
a bum.
But yeah, moving, it is the worst. I say anyone who's ever moving, even now in adult years when you have to move, it is like my girlfriends the last year when they've gotten rid of their house or something because everyone's talking about it being a seller's market, then to have to go find a new home. I mean, it is the worst part, packing up.
Maybe I just haven't moved that much, but to me, it sounds like it'd be fun, like reorganizing everything. And
When I moved from Tampa here, and remember, I had to convince my parents because I said I'm going to become a Backstreet Boy. I'm gonna live this life, and I'm gonna be a somebody. And I remember my dad telling me, "You've got 1 year. 1 year. If I'm still having to help you in any fashion, having to help pay your gas, having to send a pizza to your house because you're not making any money, you're bringing your ass back to Tampa." And luckily, I was able to move over here with that. My dad's Eclipse because my car, this is how unprepared I was. My car took a dump before I even moved out here. So I had to use my dad's car, which was an Eclipse.
Which is tiny in itself to have to pack everything into.
Yeah, it was a hatchback. And I packed everything in there, including a futon.
No way!
How did you get that in there?
What?
We got the futon in there. I don't know. I don't know how we were able to fit everything. You know what you're able to do when you're young and you're like, I'm out of here.
And your dad tells you, and your dad's like, "Oh, I'll bring you right back here." He's like, "Watch me, Dad. I'll make this work.
Me.
I'll do it."
This futon's fitting in here.
Yeah. So
the worst.
So there you go. So those are our moving stories. I love how everybody this week has kind of shared some of their moving stories with us. Some people were telling Chloe, "Don't take a damn thing.
Yeah.
Sell everything in a garage sale, make $1,000, and move up there with that extra $1,000."
You know what? I actually did do that. My one college move when I was coming to Orlando, we did do a garage sale with my stuff, and my parents went through their garage and sold stuff to help me make some money.
Aww.
I do remember that. I haven't had to think about that. Obie was talking about memories and these conversations we have and how some things that you don't think about for years until it comes up in these conversations.
Yeah, I love it. It's like the brain's like a Rolodex, and it's like, oh, we haven't had to pick up this memory, this file in a long time.
Gregory made a great point, which is I have a box, even though I didn't move, I have one for extra parts in case I lost something, but make a parts box, and anything you take apart, put it in a Ziploc, label it, and put it in the parts box.
I've never thought about that. That's
it's genius because I have like
idea.
When I put things together, you have like a random screw that you're like, oh, this should have probably gone somewhere in there.
Yeah.
I put it in a box or in a bag, and I label it, and I have a box for it.
So smart.
All right, let's
good advice.
So let's do some final tips here. If y'all have some final tips, we see them. Anne just jumped in. Jennifer just jumped in with some tips of their own. I want to throw one in there too. Is that so? When I was looking for boxes, I would go behind like a Marshall's or a Ross, and they would have boxes galore already broken down, ready to be thrown away. And I'd be like, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that's because the U-Haul, I called them and I was asking them about packing my TVs. And Slater, you made a really good point about using blankets and sheets and all that stuff, because that's totally what I'm going to use for my TVs. And they're like, yeah, we'll charge you, but it's going to be per box. And I'm like, I'll just find some. I'll be able to wrap my TV with a box. I'll figure it out. I'm good. I'm not going to spend any more money because moving, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So.
And where in Michigan did you move from? My parents are from just outside of Detroit. They moved down here like over 40 years ago. We said hi to Anne last week. I told her that we were wondering where she was, and she was asking, why were you guys wondering? I told her we just knew because we hadn't seen you in for a long time.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Another piece of advice, Chloe. The troopers in Georgia are much worse than Florida.
True.
Oh,
yeah.
I've heard that.
So true.
Yeah, when I went up for the interview, the gentleman that was interviewing me up there, he said to me, he's like, Chloe, make sure you go really slow when you come into Georgia because they'll ticket you like way worse than it is in Florida. I'm like,
And Obie knows all about that fast driving.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. I've never gotten a ticket in Georgia, but
Aren't they like double the amount sometimes too? Like if you are speeding.
well, and they put you in some sort of a speeders club too, especially if you're like going over like 100. If you're going over 100, then they're like, oh, you're part of the whatever speeders club. You feel all proud until you look at the ticket and you see how much it is, and you're like, that's when they give you like the max of what a ticket could
What?
possibly be. Yeah,
that's crazy. Oh, sorry.
you're getting phone calls,
Don't mind
man.
me.
Is that your new boss? Is that your new co-host?
No,
Doesn't he
not
know?
yet.
Doesn't he know we're busy?
Not till next week.
Good
Okay,
stuff.
okay.
All right, okay. We hit that 30-minute mark. We want to be respectful of your time. And y'all, anything else? Anything else anybody wants to throw in the gauntlet? Slater?
Oof.
Melissa? Hey,
Nope.
hook up with the podcast. Tell everybody the podcast so this way they can find y'all's shows.
Yes, Sipping on Sweet Tea. We actually have a new episode that came out this morning. So
Ooh.
it's on our K92.3 app, Apple.
It's titled something like talking about his little Slater.
It's Little
Right.
Slater dating app or
Yeah.
dating profile.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Oh, Slater.
Promiscuous is what it is.
Promiscuous.
Look at
Little Slater.
It's Little Slater, so
Oh.
By the way, I've seen your shoe size, bro.
It is-
God. Ew. I don't want to see your feet.
Oh my God.
His feet are like this big. They're like this big. Oh. Love you guys. Rita, Carly, and Teresa, Jennifer, Diana, and y'all, thank you. Everybody who's watching this on YouTube, everybody who's listening to us via the podcast from around the country, thank you so much. Again, this is K92.3's cast. The entire on-air staff, whenever you listen to a radio station, there's a staff of personalities.
Slater, can you please end with your foot the way you just had it?
You like it?
On top, is that what we're doing?
how are you so flexible?
Oh, I'm bendy as a mofo, I am.
All right. Thanks for chatting with us. And remember, we do this every Thursday at 11 o'clock. Everybody's got their hands in because we do basically a giant, like, put your hands in the middle like a sports team.
Huddle.
All right.
yeah.
This is the huddle.
All right.
Ending the huddle with everybody's hands. To
3.
love, peace, happiness, generosity, all that beautiful stuff, man. To all of y'all.
Later.
1, 2, 3,
Break.
go. Oh, my God.